Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this weather presentation for December 3rd, 2019. As always, please don't forget to subscribe and also watch the whole video. And as always, I'm going to be showing you this every video, just a little goal to, monetization this week, just to show you guys my update status and how close I am, just to give you an update on each video. So of course, please watching the whole video and subscribing are ways that you can help with that. So thank you all for that. Now, you're not be able to see because I cut this out of the screen, but I only have one other tab open, and that's this tab. You're like, whoa, what happened? No, I'm not going to spend the whole video on this one map. I have like GIFs pulled up that I took from like Tropical Tidbits and Pivotal Weather and all the sites that I use, because that way I can go from a certain time frame to a certain time frame because I'm looking at a specific time period because it's a weekly forecast today. We're doing a video on the forecast for the 3rd of December, which is today, to the 10th. And usually if I try to do a weekly forecast from the 3rd to the 10th, I'll be tempted to go over. But at least with the GIFs pulled up, I can't go past a certain point. So that's why I'm specifically doing it for this video, because otherwise I'm tempted to go, overboard and go out and farther in time. So here's a real quick climate prediction center. Okay, taking a lot of models looked at, taking my own knowledge and combining it all. I do have a little my own forecast as well. And you can see this is where we have all below average temperatures for the northern plains, the central plains, even down to Dallas, Chicago, St. Louis, Detroit, all the way back towards the Rocky Mountains. Slightly colder. Now the lighter blue doesn't mean slightly colder, and the darker blue doesn't mean much colder. The darker blues just mean that they have a higher confidence that you're going to be colder. Same thing with, like, for the oranges and reds, they have a higher confidence that you're going to be warmer than average. Like Houston can still be a more warm, like they can still be more above average than Boston, in a place like Boston that's in the darker orange. They just have a higher confidence of it in Boston. Okay, so for a place like Florida, you guys have a pretty good chance. Like for a place like Vero Beach, you have like a greater than 2/3 of chance of seeing above normal temperatures. A place like Houston, I mean the odds are pretty much split in a third. Even though you're not like light orange color, meaning you have a 1% greater chance of having above normal temperatures, nonetheless, you are still in that little, potential you can have above average temperatures. I like that I don't have to type in a location, I can just click on a place. Like San Francisco, for example, no features at that location, you kidding me? There we go. Alright, San Francisco, you got a greater than a 40% chance to see above normal temperatures. However, with a place like, let's go near International Falls, look at that. Nearly an 80% chance to see colder temperatures and 40% chance to see above normal precipitation. But the East Coast, okay, looks warmer, okay, and I believe when you go to precipitation, it might have the opposite. Okay, there we go. So here's precipitation, okay, and they're saying dry for San Francisco and like the California coast. I'm actually gonna say the opposite for that, and I'll tell you why. But other than that, once you have like east of the Rocky Mountains points east, it's all above normal precipitation. And as a matter of fact, where we have this darker shade of green, that means 40 to around 50% chance of seeing above normal precipitation, including places like Philly, Washington, Atlanta, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Pierre, South Dakota, places like Rapid City, South Dakota, even Scottsbluff in Nebraska, right around here. 40 to 50% chance to see above normal precipitation. Again, like the temperatures, a place here where they have barely a chance to see above normal precipitation can still have more precipitation than in the darker green. Again, the darker green just means you have a higher confidence of it. Let's go to my forecast real quick. Okay, so I'm going to draw tool to the side here. And this is my temperature forecast for December 3rd through December 10th. And then we'll get into all the model and the little model trends, because sadly, some of the people that don't stay for the whole video, I at least want them to see this, my temperature and precipitation outlook. I'd rather them see, my own making. And we'll do the models right after this. So, the East Coast, yes, colder now, a little cooler, obviously behind Ezekiel. But eventually, with a couple incoming storms that'll track to the north, they're going to draw a little bit of warmer air, and it will be warm later. Okay, so don't let the blue, if you hate cold, don't let the blue get you down. There will be a big storm that moves up like this, and it'll bring a little bit of warmer air to feast on. So we'll actually have some 50s, some of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. So or at least the northeast and northern mid-Atlantic, where it's normally in the 40s. So that'll be excitement. And where I am, it's really nice because I have an easy way of tracking the temperatures. So basically, beginning of December, let's say, the the average high temperature is 49, but once it hits to the end of the month, it's down to 40. Same thing with like November, for example. Starting out the month, it's 59 the average temperature. End of the month, 50 degrees the average temperature. So just, luckily to be in that zone where if you live in a certain area in the east, then you can actually, track temperatures like that. If you go on the Weather Channel's monthly outlook, you'll be able to see that a lot better. I might leave a link to that below so you guys can look for yourself. So again, so for the northern plains, we do have some colder air, like the Climate Prediction Center said. Again, I do have a higher probability there for places like Des Moines, Minneapolis, Duluth, International Falls. It's just too much Green Bay. Around Madison, Wisconsin, places like eastern South Dakota, southeastern tip of North Dakota, and even parts of eastern Nebraska. So all those areas can have some strong cold shots and some slight, chilly air. But I think eventually a lot of this warm air is going to fill in the southeast, the Gulf Coast, or the southwest, even though it may not seem like that now. Warm now, but we will have some colder shots later. Places like Montana, northern Idaho, and Washington. So that's the temperature aspect. How about the precipitation aspect? Okay, and again, in the east, okay, oh, that's not the right drawing tool, that's the paint drawing tool. Here we go. So in the east, at least for like the eastern third of the country, from Florida up through Maine, back west towards about St. Louis, Green Bay, so again, like Maine, Florida, all the way west towards Green Bay and Chicago and St. Louis and Houston. Okay, all those places and everywhere in between, slightly below average, but there is going to be a storm or two, another little, like a clip, not a clipper, but like a little weak disturbance that'll move through, and then a larger storm is going to push through this way later. So I'll be showing you those later on with the models. And California, since you're going to get a couple of, again, that's the paint drawing tool. Why do I do that? Let's hit undo. Here we go. So I guess like when I switch off of the Bandicam tool, I keep thinking I'm still using it, so the paint drawing tool comes up, which I like the Bandicam one a lot better. But for California, a couple of rain and snowstorms possible, obviously. And in California, you're going to get snow in the mountains, obviously. Rarely do you ever get it at the surface unless you're living in 1930, 1940 when it was a lot colder. But yes, in California, I do think it's going to be a little bit above average, especially with a couple of storms coming in, could have some above average precipitation. But later on, the second half of this time period, so the 6th to the 10th, the East could have a storm or two, one of those being a very weak storm. So, here we go. Let's start off here. This is the GFS model. Wait for it to go to the end of its loop here. Okay, it's a 7, so you can see ridging, but I mean, it's kind of like a little spoiler alert for you guys. All right, so this is about to come to a start right now. Here we go. So there's Ezekiel, whatever's left of it, pulling out. Okay, a nice little dip in the jet stream. That changes. Then we get some ridging moving its way through, and then that'll move through on the 9th, and then the 10th. Like I said, with that storm possible in the east, that's when that makes its way through. Okay, we'll go through one more time. We'll go through each twice. So you see, there's that little weak disturbance I was telling you about. Okay, that little weak disturbance pulls out, and then towards the 9th and the 10th, here comes a big storm. So I want to show you that little weak disturbance again. So here comes with California, storm that's there now. That'll evolve into a little weak disturbance, gets caught up in the jet stream. That thing is out to sea, and it'll probably be impacting areas down here, and probably just going to be like a light rain event. Could bring some, snow pockets here, but I couldn't even be sure of that. Probably not enough cold air to be dried down for it to be any snow. But a major ridging in the east, 8th and 9th, and then once that little storm goes, there comes the big dip in the jet stream. Yes, the blues doesn't actually mean cold. They can, but it doesn't always have to. Okay, and actually a lot of the times the areas that get the precipitation are the areas just between the orange and the blue. Like right here in this case, at the end of that loop. Those are the areas that can sometimes get precipitation. Okay, I'm going to get on the jet stream, is usually where the jet stream lies. So that's the GFS. Okay, let's go over the European model now. Okay, so let's just, yeah, I have this going a lot slower because each loop is 1 day later, so I can have this going a lot slower. Alright, and it's done right now. So here's the European model. It's going a lot slower. There's Ezekiel. Okay, we got another jet stream dip. That's out to sea. And then we got some ridging that moves through 6th. There's the 7th. There's the 8th. They have the ridge a lot stronger and lasting a lot longer. But eventually, come to spoil the ridge's fun, is that mean old dip in the jet stream. So again, there's a little weak disturbance that the GFS was trying to indicate. That actually moves across the United States pretty quick. Probably gets weakened by that ridge. And the ridge comes up, and then down to spoil the fun is a nice little dip in the jet stream, some Arctic air, and some storms possible. Any dips in those 500 millibar geopotential height can indicate a possible storm coming. Alright, here's the GFS temperatures. Okay, let's just wait for it to go through its cycle. Okay, here's a little spoiler alert. You guys can look at it for yourself real quick, and let's get into it now. Alright, so yes, colder will be spilling in. Colder in the east now, like I said, but it will be warming up later. But look at the south central, it's just pretty much going to stay warm all the time. There's a nice little jet stream plunge through the east. Then the ridge comes in 9th and the 10th, like the GFS was saying. And then, once that storm comes in or behind it, you're going to see some more cold air being plunged in. So let's look at that one more time. Southern Plains, there's that cold shot to the northeast, the 7th, maybe even the 8th. 9th and 10th, we got ridging. And then we got behind that storm, so that's where the precipitation will be at the end of that loop there. Right across the Ohio Valley, right around Monday, or the 10th in the morning. So it would be Tuesday morning, because today's the 3rd. Okay, that's the same exact one. Alright, so here is the GEM model. Okay, same temperature map, same kind of map, temperatures at the same altitude, except now we're just looking at a different model, which is, in this case, the GEM model. Okay, so you guys can look at it for yourself. In case you're an expert meteorologist, you want to take a look at it. Alright, there we go. So there's the cold air. Starts to fizzle away in the 4th. Again, the southern plains staying warm. The west is back and forth. Here comes a cold plunge, 7th and the 8th. Then the 9th and 10th, you got ridging in the east, and then a huge cold plunge. Actually, I'm going to take a look real quick. Watch the end of this loop. I'll show you one more time right there. Watch northern North Dakota. At the very end of this loop. You're starting to see right here. Boom, look at that. It's like almost white. That's like over 30 degrees below average. Let's actually take a quick look at that. Alright, I don't want you to pause this video because I still got to pull it up. But I want you guys to take a guess. And I don't really know because I wasn't preparing to pull this up. But I want you guys to take a guess real quick at how, the actual temperature, how cold it will be in northern North Dakota. Keep in mind, this is next Tuesday morning, so the morning is always colder, we know, right? So take a guess, alright? And let's see if you're right. Let's go to 2 meters shaded. Yeah, let's go to the 12Z model run, because and we want the GEM model, right? GEM model. Alright, GEM model only does 0 and 12Z runs anyway. So, if you guessed -20 to -27, you were right. Yeah, not many of you would have guessed that, right? Look at this cold air coming behind the storm. You can tell the storm's right around here. That's where the very cold air and the very warm air kind of collide right here. So that's where a lot of the precipitation is. And I'll just prove it to you guys real quick. And you can see there's that precipitation where that cold and warm air meet. But look at this. We're talking about below 0 temperatures getting down through Iowa. Okay, almost getting to Nebraska, not quite. Single digit temperatures are going to get all the way down into Kansas. And temperatures in the teens are going to get down to Oklahoma and Arkansas. Pretty crazy. Yes, -25 seems to be the stealer here for northeastern North Dakota there. -25. I bet you some of you probably guessed around 0 to maybe around 10 degrees. So around 0 to 10. So that's pretty sick. So -25 is the leader there, northeastern North Dakota. Maybe my voice is getting a little bit low. Maybe I'll try to make my voice a little bit louder. Alrighty. Sadly, I forgot to put my face back on the screen. I just realized it. Alright, so here is the GFS ensembles. Again, it's a blend of probably 30 different kind of GFS models. Alright, right at the end of the loop, here we go. So these are 5-day averages. So the 3rd to the 8th, 4th to the 9th, and 5th to the 10th. But overall, yes, it is from the 3rd to the 10th. And look at this. It just keeps the warm air trapped in the southern plains. So eventually that storm comes in on the back side and just pounds that cold air in. But you can really see, kind of like what I was trying to hint at a little bit. A lot of the, remember, this is the blend of 30 different kind of GFS models. And there it is. And some colder air in the east around the 8th. I think the 9th might actually warm up in the east. Wouldn't count on it being cold, but definitely by the 10th at the latest, it will start to warm up on the eastern seaboard. But 7th, definitely cold one. 8th is a toss, kind of a toss-up for the 8th. And for the 9th as well. But definitely count on the 10th being warm potentially in the east, and the 6th and 7th being cold. Alright, now let's look at the GEFS, same model. Okay, now this is just, this is not gonna move, because this is a 7-day precipitation anomaly map. Remember, this outlook is 7 days from the 3rd to the 10th, so this is just a slide, and now it's not gonna move, because it's already 7 days in the first place, so what's the point of it moving? Okay, this goes out to the 8 o'clock in the morning on the 10th, and it's showing drier air in the east. Again, you're going to see the other ensemble model, the GEPS, is going to hint at this as well. Pacific Northwest looking pretty dry, but also the GEFS has something else hinting at too, a wetter California, which I do agree with, looking at all the models besides this one, the GFS, the European, the CMC model, which is the GEM model, showing a lot of storms coming in California. So definitely agreeing with this, and potentially even agreeing with this until later on when a storm or two comes in. So GEFS, not as, usually I'm not as impressed, but now I am. But a model I'm usually less impressed with is the GEPS model, because they always have like a dry, what's the word I'm looking for, a dry bias. And they're showing, again, same deal as the GEFS, which makes me, if I like the GEFS and this is showing the same thing, kind of starting to like the GEPS now, too. I'm not quite sure about the Pacific Northwest being dry, maybe slightly dry. Not as dry as they're saying, but probably, a few sprinkles at the very least, but definitely a little bit drier over there. But the moisture, the atmospheric river of moisture comes into California, definitely agreeing with that. And I believe there's one last one. Yes, the GEPS temperatures, because that was the precipitation. So, GEPS temperatures, again, cold in the east until the 10th, we were starting to see a warm-up. Remember, these are taken from 5-day averages, so not what it's exactly going to be. But again, look at the southern plains just staying warm. I mean, if I could just keep that circle there, inside that circle, you're pretty much going to see them. It's not perfect, but you're going to see oranges and reds inside for the whole loop, from the 3rd and to 8th, the 4th to the 9th, and the 5th to the 10th. Okay, and of course, once you get that cold shock coming in right there from behind the storm, and all this cold air is from behind Ezekiel still, so that'll be hanging around for a couple days. So I believe that's it for today's video. I showed you guys my forecast already. How splendid. So thank you guys for watching this video. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Again, subscribe please and watch the whole video. We are on that trail to monetization. Thank you guys so much. Close out all the tabs. Thank you guys for watching. I'm DeWeather Dude, signing off till next time. Catch you guys next video.